The Mike Broomhead Show is sponsored in part by Cliff Castle Casino Hotel, the perfect place to play.
Law enforcement pulling out all the stops. They have more than doubled the reward looking for the freeway shooter. Welcome to the Mike Broomhead Show.
Well, I got a message, I got a song. Can I get a witness? Tell me what's going on. I show the people I've been away.
Hey, thanks for being here. We're glad you're with us again. It's the Mike Broomhead Show, and thanks for everyone who interacted with us last week. Great show coming up this week. Of course, we're going to have Broomhead's Best once again. We'll do that. And once again, we got to start talking about all the things in the Valley. And today we talk football. Michale Bidwill is going to join the show. You know, it's been 10 years that they're in University of Phoenix Stadium. And something you're going to learn about that stadium that you didn't know in the past. It's a great interview. That happens today as well. But we start each week off with something we call the sweep. The biggest story in Arizona right now, and it has become a national story, is the freeway shooter. The head of the DPS, Frank Milstead, talking about doubling the reward, more than doubling. It's now set at $50,000. I loved his quote. He said that someone out there has a tip for us, and I'm willing to pay for it. It's a great quote. They're doing everything they can. They've distributed flyers along the I-10 in neighborhoods and businesses, offering the reward. They're written in English and Spanish. It's interesting, they have a person of interest in custody at the Maricopa County Jail on a marijuana charge. He's being held without bond, and there's been no shootings since last Thursday. So that was very interesting. Sad story this week in the city of Phoenix. There was an officer that was shot at 12th Street and Campbell in Phoenix. But it's made some changes in the Phoenix Police Department. You will hear once in a while the phrase that it was a routine traffic stop. Well, there is no such thing. An officer pulled over a vehicle at 12th Street and Campbell, and when trying to effect a traffic stop with these individuals, took a couple of bullets, one in the bulletproof vest and the other shattering his left arm. But Phoenix police petitioning the chief, Chief Joe Yonner, listening. They're talking about having two-person patrols at night and in certain situations. The chief saying not a bad idea at all, and it's an option now that when it's applicable, officers can ride in two-person squad cars. Now let's talk about the Republican debate. Oh my gosh, does it seem like they should be playing the hurdy-gurdy during these things? It is just one after the other. Donald Trump was again Donald Trump. Carly Fiorina came out what looked to be like the big winner of the debate. In my opinion anyway, she showed herself very, very well. Jeb Bush making a confession. So there was a lot to talk about in the Republican debate. It was pretty incredible. Donald Trump faces off with Carly Fiorina. Carly Fiorina answers what Donald Trump said about her.
Last week in Rolling Stone magazine, Donald Trump said the following about you, quote, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?" Mr. Trump later said he was talking about your persona, not your appearance. Please feel free to respond what you think about his persona.
You know, it's interesting to me, Mr. Trump said that he heard Mr. Bush very clearly and what Mr. Bush said. I think women all over this country heard very clearly what Mr. Trump said.
I don't know if she's going to be the nominee, but she really did a great job in how she handled that. In addition to that, Jeb Bush makes a confession. They go after him. As a matter of fact, it was Rand Paul. But listen how Jeb Bush handled this.
Well, I think if we left it open, we could see how many people smoked pot in high school.
Is there somebody you were specifically thinking of?
Well, you know, the thing is
He was talking
that,
about me.
Yeah, I was talking
That's
about...
what I thought, but I wanted him to say it.
I wanted to make it easier for him,
Yeah.
and I just did.
Governor Bush, please.
So 40 years ago, I smoked marijuana, and I admit it. I'm sure that other people might have done it and may not want to say it in front of 25 million people. My mom's not happy that I just did. That's true.
Thank God he didn't say I didn't inhale, right? I mean, he just made the admission. Now, if those are the highlights of the debate, do we really need to have debates? I mean, come on, this thing went on for 3 hours. Was there anything you want to see happen for 3 hours? I certainly don't. Now, a local story. The Phoenix Union High School District will now issue a civics test. You will have to pass the citizenship civics test in order to graduate from high school in the Phoenix Union School District. It's incredible to me that this isn't a part of everything that we do. Our form of government is so unique to the world. It's what has set us apart. We need to create critical thinkers. This civics test is one way to differentiate the American government from all other governments around the world. It's the one thing that makes us different. If we can get young people to appreciate that, getting them involved in the process of voting or running for office is much easier if they understand how it works. That, to me, is what's most important. And finally on the sweep, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. They are valued at $1.54 billion. Congratulations to the Cardinals. It's a big increase from where they were. But by NFL standards, you know the Dallas Cowboys are worth $4 billion? They may be the richest sports franchise in the entire world, but the Cardinals are showing they were right. University of Phoenix Stadium being built has increased their value, has made them a better team and a better organization. Joining us in a few moments, Michale Bidwill, CEO of the Arizona Cardinals. We will talk all things Cardinals football and some things about that stadium you had no idea about. All of that coming up in a few moments. We'll be right back. It's the Mike Broomhead Show. We're at Cardinals Stadium. We're with Michale Bidwill, owner, CEO, president of the Cardinals. Thanks for having us out. This is it's exciting for me, and starting here matters because what you've done with the stadium. I remember being here. I've been here 20 years. I remember your family saying, "Get us a stadium. We'll field a competitive team." Super Bowl appearance, right. NFC Championship, Super Bowls. This year, high expectations. Did you ever imagine in this 10 years since being here, you'd accomplish what you did?
Well, I did imagine it. You know, I think it was, at the time, a lot of people didn't really believe that we would achieve it. But you look at it, this is our 10th season now at University of Phoenix Stadium. We've sold out every game. We're going to sell them all out this year. And we're excited about what we've done here, but not as excited as we are about the future and what we're doing on the field.
Buying season tickets. I looked into season tickets. They already said the lower bowl's sold out.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And to come here, going to a game, no offense, going to ASU Stadium, going to Sun Devil Stadium and watching a home game, and coming here, two different worlds. Nobody wants to come into this building and play.
Yeah, the visiting teams, this is a very intimidating place for visiting quarterbacks, for the defenses, the players that are calling out the signals to the defense. I mean, it's a tough place because we make it so loud. The Red Sea, the Bird Gang, all our Cardinal fans really get up on their feet and keep this place loud for us.
So when you talk about the economic impact, because I know your family has been very benevolent in Arizona, and this really is a family business for you.
It is.
The impact for Arizona, talk about what this stadium, in your opinion, has done for Arizona.
Well, I think it's done a lot of great things, and we've had 2 Super Bowls here. We had that NFC Championship game. We've had a couple of national championship college football games. We're going to have another one here in January. And when you look at all the Cardinal seasons, the Fiesta Bowls, and those Super Bowls, we're over a $4 billion economic impact at this point. And so it's been a great ROI, great return on investment for the community. And you know, we voted on it in 2000, November 2000, almost 15 years ago. And you know, voters should be happy that they approved the funding for this, because it's been a great economic engine for Arizona. It's given us a place to really put ourselves on the map and to host great events. We've got a Final Four coming here in March of 2017. We could have never hosted a game like that without this facility.
And the facility was designed after 9/11.
It was the first facility designed after 9/11. So there were a lot of things that changed in terms of the security perimeter, in terms of some of the things that were built into the stadium to make it safe for the fans and to make sure that we had a great venue, but also a safe venue that could host mega events, which it's done, and it's done a great job of.
When you make business decisions, because it's still a business in the end, how do you balance the relationships you've developed with some of the players versus the business decision of someone's career or what's best for the overall team? Because you can't ask for a better ambassador than Larry Fitzgerald. You can't ask for a better ambassador than a Kurt Warner. But when do you balance when it's time to move on, or does that just take care of itself?
Well, first, I listen to Steve Keim. He's general manager back-to-back years in the NFL, general manager of the year, executive of the year. And I listen to him, but what we really try to do is put a focus on what's best for the team, what's best for us on the field. And re-signing Larry was absolutely the right decision. We never thought that he'd go anyplace else.
We were so happy when you made that decision. As a fan, that was the best move you've made in a long time.
Well, it was a mutual decision because we needed to work it out on both sides because there was an existing contract in place, but we needed to restructure it so that we could retire Larry as a Cardinal, but also make sure that we did what was best for the team for our salary cap, and so to allow us to build on what we did in 2014 and to be here in week 2 of 2015, be ready to go. I couldn't be more excited about this season.
I get nostalgic about stuff. So I was here when Aeneas Williams was put into the Ring of Honor. Right. And so nostalgia for me goes back 20 years. But for your family, when you look around the Ring of Honor, when you look at the names there and you think about some of the names that will be, what do you think of this overall for your family and for you?
Well, I think it's great, and I mostly think about the fans because I'm a fan. Everybody in our family's a fan. It's exciting to see some of the old players still recognized in the stadium. But this year, you know, we're going to be putting Adrian Wilson, who is well-deserved to be in the Ring of Honor, and Aeneas, of course, you know, Kurt Warner last year. So we want to get some of these modern-era players into the Ring of Honor because they mean so much to us and to our fans.
When you brought in the first female NFL coach, did you expect there to be a bit of a spectacle with it, or did you? What was the reasons behind it, and how has it been handled? Do you think since you brought her on the staff for the preseason?
Yeah, no, she's a coaching intern, and she's done a great job. And the whole idea was to get her some NFL experience. We thought that there'd be a lot of attention on it. We didn't know if another team would do the same thing, but when we found out we were going to be the only team, it was pretty exciting. And what it allows her to do is to really learn from NFL coaches, to get some great experience and open up some doors for other opportunities, either in the pros or in college.
All right, I want to shift to something a little somber in a minute. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I want to ask you about the Cardinal and the NFL connection to September 11th, since we've just had the anniversary, you know, of course, with Pat Tillman. So if you don't mind, we'll do that. We'll be back in a minute with Michale Bidwill. We're back. We're at Cardinal Stadium with Michale Bidwill and a little bit of a somber topic. September 11th, the anniversary, and there will always be a connection with the Cardinals and Pat Tillman and 9/11. Reflect on that a little bit and what this means to you personally and as an organization.
Well, I remember that day vividly. It was I think everybody does. I remember exactly where I was, and I came into the office later, and I remember coming through our media relations area. We had a television set in there that everybody was sort of huddled around, and later in that afternoon, I came back through the area, and Pat was there with my younger brother, Timothy, and you could see that there was something that was going through Pat's mind. I mean, everybody had a different look on their face that day. But we later learned, you know, in the off season, he decided to leave football. We had a contract on the table, but he decided to leave football to join the U.S. Army and the Ranger Corps with his brother Kevin, and that was a big deal, stepping away from football. But a lot of people don't know he had just married his high school sweetheart, Marie Tillman, about 3 weeks before that. So they'd come back from their honeymoon, and he came in, told us that he was leaving to go to the Army to fight and join the Rangers, and we all know the rest of the history there, that he was killed tragically in Afghanistan in 2004.
What was your reaction when he told you he was giving up his NFL career to go and fight?
It didn't surprise me. I mean, anybody that knew Pat knew that he was a different kind of person, extremely principled, and somebody that was always going to stand up and do the right thing and speak up for what he believed in. And you could see, you know, he made a comment to our video broadcast folks on September 12th that, you know, he had family members that had fought at Pearl Harbor, fought during World War II, and you remember his quote. He said, "I haven't done a damn thing." And you realize then that he was making up his mind that he was going to personally get involved. Nobody knew how much he would put himself in harm's way at that point. He served 2 tours and unfortunately was killed in Afghanistan in April of 2004.
It's interesting. I lost a brother in Iraq as well, and to be a family member, the honor you place on that person for them going to serve. My brother had the same attitude, and I never met Pat Tillman, but everyone who knew him, he reminds me so much of every person I've talked with that has done that, is that they seem like it's just they're compelled by it's a duty of theirs.
Right, and he was such a great person. You know, you think about how much different the world would be if Pat was still here. There's no doubt he would have finished his career as a Cardinal. We would have been putting him up in the Ring of Honor. You know, a lot of people believed he'd be, you know, an elected official, a U.S. senator, a governor of a big state. He had big things and big things that he was going to tackle in life. Unfortunately, it was cut short, too short in April of 2004.
Anyone who's not been to a Cardinal game doesn't understand, but once you come to one, you realize that the honor you give the military and when you honor the country, it is very meaningful in this stadium. And I think it's something that's special. I think most people, as loud as this stadium gets, those few moments of silence and when the national anthem is played is pretty significant.
It is significant, and that's we did put him up in the Ring of Honor. Unfortunately, it was after his death, and we've got the Pat Tillman plaza out front that many people, it's probably the most photographed statue in the state of Arizona, because people just all day long are driving up and taking their photograph in front of his statue in front of the stadium.
So looking forward now, you have made such great strides, and everyone I know has become such a big Cardinal fan, and you've built this community of a solid fan base. Right. What are the goals? Like what, and I don't want to get too much into football, the X's and O's, but your goals for the season and in the future, is it Super Bowl or bust? What is it for you?
Well, it's win a Super Bowl. Every year we start out and we want to go to the Super Bowl, and we want to build a team that will get us there. You know, we were about 2.5 minutes short of winning the Super Bowl down in Tampa, Super Bowl 43. Best game of my life until that last 2.5 minutes. But, you know, we had, we feel like last year it was cut short by injury. We really felt like we had everything coming together. This year we built upon that. We've made a lot of great moves in the offseason, and we're going to see that pay off, especially later in the season as we really get things going. And we're excited about hosting. We want to have those playoff games at home. We want to win the NFC West. We want to get in the playoffs. We want to win. And long term is to fill up these hands with Super Bowl rings.
So when you watch how the fans react to you now, what do you say when the fans, because I know you approach the fans on Sundays, you're out talking to, what do you say to the fans when they thank you or when they come to you with comments? What's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is thank you, because they help us win, especially on third down and in the fourth quarter. The energy in this building and the noise in this building, especially when the opposing offense is out on the field, the Red Sea gets loud. So they help us win. And I'm so grateful for the support. I know our players are. They're energized by it down on the field, the coaches, the whole organization. And so we're excited about what we're doing here. It is a football town now, and we're excited that we've continued to have success. So my goal is to continue to build upon this, have a sustained success year in and year out. And while we can't control injuries and things like that, we sure can make all the decisions we can make. And that's what we've done throughout this offseason. We're going to do it again next offseason. Is every decision we make is about winning and about building a championship team that Arizona can be proud of.
Well, if you haven't been out to a game at University of Phoenix Stadium, you are missing out, because it is absolutely a place to be in Arizona. If you're not a Cardinals fan, I promise you one visit you will be. Michael, thank you and good luck this season.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Thanks,
appreciate it. Thanks for coming out.
We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the Mike Broomhead Show. Now, the criteria for this segment it's got to be Arizona and it's got to be positive. Well, this was filmed right here in Arizona. And why is it our best of the week? Well, you're going to find out in just a moment. This segment is called Broomhead's Best. Carly Fiorina was speaking to the National Republican Women's Convention up at Desert Ridge, and she filmed a campaign ad. This was in response to what Donald Trump said to her. Donald Trump said, "Look at this face." So instead of doing something negative, I think this is the most positive thing I've seen in this campaign season. Watch and see if you agree with me.
Ladies, look at this face. And look at all of your faces. The face of leadership. The face of leadership in our party, the party of women's suffrage. The face of leadership in your communities, in your businesses, in your places of work and worship. Ladies, note to Democrat Party. We are not a special interest group. We are the majority of the nation. This is the face of a 61-year-old woman. I am proud of every year and every wrinkle.
I think that every girl in America should view that ad. Carly Fiorina not only is not a politician, but she is showing that positive works. This isn't about a negative campaign ad against a competitor. This isn't why Donald Trump's a bad guy. This is about why women are powerful. They're the majority of America. It is just a great, great ad. If she keeps that up, she is going to be a force to be reckoned with. That's why she's Broomhead's best. That was filmed right here in the state of Arizona. So I love it. I don't know if she's going to be the candidate, but you keep watching her if she keeps doing things like that. We'll be back in a moment. We're going to wrap up the show. We've got some final thoughts, so stick around.
The Mike Broomhead Show is sponsored in part by Cliff Castle Casino Hotel, the perfect place to play.
Welcome back to the Mike Broomhead Show. Now, each week we talk about what's burning up the internet, what's going on social media. This segment's called #This. The Phoenix Union High School District. Now, they're doing something that I think all school districts should have been doing. They are issuing a civics test to all their high school students. That sounds great until you see the test. AZ Central put 25 multiple choice questions up, so they were so easy, we just decided, let's go see who can pass it. Watch this.
Who has the power to veto a bill?
That would be the president, right?
The President of the United States.
Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II?
I'm guessing FDR, but I don't even know.
I believe it was Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt.
Roosevelt? Ronald Reagan?
How many justices are there on the Supreme Court?
There are 9 justices.
9. 5. That was just a guess.
What is Susan B. Anthony famous for?
Women's suffrage.
I don't even know what she's famous for, unfortunately.
Oh, women's rights.
What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution?
Bill of Rights. Oh, the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, I believe.
What is the capital of the United States?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
It would be Washington, D.C.
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 Thank God. I got to tell you, at least they passed that part of the test. Maybe that's the reason this is happening. Take a look at the graduation rates. The White House puts out a report card of graduation rates across the country. Now, the University of Arizona in Arizona leads the way with 61%. But they got there, and listen to this, it's because they have 6 years to graduate. A little bit depressing. Next week, we talk about sex trafficking, a very important topic. We've got to talk about it because of the sheer numbers. Thank you to Michale Bidwill for being on the show. We will be back next week. So next week, join me on the Mike Broomhead Show. Go Cardinals.
I got a message. I got a song.
Get more of Mike Broomhead on Facebook, Twitter, and of course weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on News Talk 550 KFYI.
Maybe I will tomorrow.